ॐ नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। There are many texts in Vedanta that talk about the nature of life as extremely fleeting, the fleeting nature of life. Bhaja Govindam comes to mind, which has the same message as the 13th verse that we saw, where life goes away and the time never comes back. Time is the devourer of the universe. The same kinds of things are expressed. Nalini dalajata nalini dalajala gatam ati taralam tadvat jeevitam ati chapalam vidhi vyadhi abhimanagrastham lokam hatam cha samastam. Similarly, and there it goes a step further and talks about life as a small drop. The entire life is a small drop of water trembling on a lotus leaf, a lotus pad. A wind going this way, some fish jumping or frog jumping, immediately that drop of water runs away, is dispersed. And the Bhaja Govindam says, Vidhi, please know, Vyadhi abhimanagrastam lokam hatam. Abhimanagrastam, Vyadhigrastam. Vyadhigrastam, Vyadhi is disease, all kinds of diseases, mental, physical, emotional. So the whole universe is grasta, caught in these kinds of diseases of various kinds. And as though this was not enough, abhimanagrastam. Abhimana is a lot of ego, pride. Still, there is no stopping this person from thinking that one is able to make the finite infinite. That is the abhimana. And this is what lokam hatam, samastam lokam hatam, the Shankaracharya says there in the Bhaja Govindam, the whole universe is as good as destroyed because of this issue. And it is very difficult to, even though all the texts talk about this, the fleeting nature of life, it is difficult to connect to that message, primarily because one is in the moment, trying in a frenzied way, trying to produce happiness. The Taittiriya Upanishad talks about this in a slightly different way, which I think is much more effective. It talks about the Taratamya or the comparative analysis, Mimamsa, of Ananda, joy. So if we analyze joy, because you see everybody is leading a frenzied life in order to produce happiness. And so the Taittiriya Upanishad says, let us go to the root of it and analyze this happiness. What is this happiness? What is its nature? And how much happiness is enough happiness? So there is this Ananda Mimamsa, a comparative analysis of happiness. And it is done very ingeniously. First you set up one unit of human happiness. Yuva syat sadhu yuvadhyayakah ashishto dradishto balishthah tasyevam prithivi vittasya purna syat saya eko manusha anandah. This is one unit of human happiness. What is one unit of human happiness? A young person, young man. Why man? Because more strength and less subject to prejudices, etc. in society. So imagine, visualize a young man. And then, young means restless. No, very, very calm young man endowed with a calm mind. And then must be some kind of a nerd, sitting behind a computer all day, antisocial. No, no, no. He is able to conduct conversations on many, many topics. Oh, must be some kind of a social butterfly, very shallow. No, no. Adhyayakah, he is Ashishtaha, very nicely schooled, has gone to Gurukulam. Oh, must be, very weak. If you say, foo, he falls down. No, no, no. Balishta, very strong. All right. There must be a catch somewhere. The Indian parents, when they hear this, they think, oh, this must be son-in-law material, because this sounds like a very good catch for my daughter. This is what the Indian mother and father are thinking. The quintessential Indian auntie and uncle are thinking. The uncle is already convinced. The man is convinced. Yes, yes, I think we should fix up this alliance. He's sounding wonderful. The auntie, however, is more practical. She says, show me the money. What is the use of good qualities? What is the use of the fact that he's educated, he's dharmic? I'm not interested in all that. Can he earn a living? What is this? And then here comes the shocker. Tasya iyam prithivi vittasya purna syat. The whole earth with all her resources, natural resources, mineral resources, gems, gold, everything belongs as it were, belongs to this young man. Okay, looks like there is no catch. This is the deal. This is called 1 unit of human happiness. It's an ideal typical measure. Are you happy gaining this? No. Why? Because then you look into the other world and you read about yakshas, gandharvas, kinnaras, these musical celestials who are able to sing and dance, and they are very, very happy. Why are they much happier than you with all these resources? Why are they much happier than human beings? Because that is how the Ananda is set up. Vishayananda, Ananda which you gain from all kinds of contact with the sense objects, etc., is set up in this kind of a gradation hierarchy. So how do you calculate the Gandharva's happiness? Well, that's really simple. You multiply the 1 unit of human happiness into 100 and then you get 1 unit of the lower rung celestial's happiness. Te ye shatam manusha anandah saya eko gandharvanandah. Then you multiply that by 100 and then you get some, the happiness of the mains. Mains means ancestor, Pitraloka. And then you multiply that by 100 and then you get some other, 1 unit of happiness of the devas who bring chai to the other devas. They are called karma devas. Ye karman devana piyanti, who serve other devas through karma. So they help bring chai, they clear the dishes away, they do seva to other devas, and still what should I say, 1 million times more happy than you here. And where does it end? It doesn't end. Brihaspati's Ananda, Indrananda, etc., etc. Then as you start to get depressed, looking at this series of Anandas, which everyone enjoys much, 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 much more than you, and you can never have any hope of getting it unless you become Indra or Brihaspati, and what are the chances of that? Nil. Then we are reminded of a refrain. There is a chorus. Te ye shatam manusha anandah saya eko gandharvanandah. What is the chorus? Shrotriyasya cha kamahatasya. This Ananda of all the gradations, right up to Brahmaji and right up to the creator of the universe, belongs, all the gradations is enjoyed right here by one person. Oh, who is that? The one who is sitting under a tree, not having anything other than what is needed. One pair of clothes on the body, other pair of clothes drying on the tree. That is this person. And who is this person? Shrotriya, the one who has studied Vedanta. The one who has studied Vedanta commands all these levels of hierarchy in this Ananda. Why? Because that person is in touch with Swarupananda, one's own Ananda, which is not dependent on contact with various objects, people, events, situations, which is an independent Ananda, which is not away from Ananda. I mean, we don't want to go away with the thought that this Ananda is some kind of a separate Ananda. No. Chocolate Ananda, ice cream Ananda, everything is coming from Swarupananda alone. But Swarupananda is much, much more than chocolate Ananda. This is the understanding. And so Shrotriya, and then Akama Hataha, Kamena Nahataha, the one who is not hijacked by desires left, right, and center. This person enjoys all the gradations of Ananda. Each and every level of Ananda one can enjoy if one knows the truth of the self. And this is a very effective way of bringing the person back from this frenzied search for a manufacturing Ananda. A manufactured Ananda is always finite because it is completely helplessly dependent upon contact with objects, situations to go to go right, for events to be exactly how one had planned. There is no flexibility, there is no imagination, there is no creativity, because one becomes a slave to produce this kind of an Ananda, and that's why one does not understand the fleeting nature of all the things in the universe. One is not able to look at it and appreciate it. It's almost like the capacity to appreciate the fleeting nature of the universe, including this body-mind complex, is unavailable to the one who is not able to see this. And therefore, study Vedanta, that's the message. And the same message is talked about slightly differently in the Mundakopanishad too. There, the one is given a long rope. The Upanishad says, the Guru in the Upanishad says, Parikshya lokan karmachitan. By all means, experience everything. Examine everything. Examine all the worlds and what they can give you. And then with the help of Viveka, when you conduct a discriminative inquiry, an objective inquiry, what can, think of a small thing, like for example, a holiday. What is a holiday? You either go to the beach, some body of water, beach, lake, pond, or you go to the mountains. Or sometimes there is a combination of the two, or you go to some kind of a forested place. So once you have gone, you've been there, you've done that. It's the same thing. So that sameness has to be understood, that doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result is foolishness. When you do the same action, the same result will come. Why should it do something else? You cannot produce this. And so this is the Mundakopanishad saying, equipped with this understanding, do an examination of all the lokas, fields of experiences, starting with this universe. And then if some people are heaven bound, they want to go to heaven all the time. And there are whole theologies about going to heaven, as though this life is a bus stop, you're waiting to go somewhere, as though this life doesn't matter. So this is, so heaven also will be the same. And heaven cannot be permanent, because anything outside of you cannot be permanent. Because if that is limitless and permanent, then your own presence delimits the heaven, etc. And heaven limits you. So that which we call heaven cannot be outside of you. Ihaivataihi jitas sargaha yesham samye sthitam manaha. 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita says, Here itself, the sarga, the heaven is gained for ones who have mastered equanimity. For those sages, those yogis who have mastered equanimity, heaven is right here. For that matter, even the other one, hell is also right here, depending upon how one leads one life. And the Mundaka Upanishad wants you to examine this very, very well and then reach a conclusion. And what is the conclusion? Nasti akritaha kritena. Kritena karmana akritam brahma nasti. By action, you cannot gain that which is not a product. Action only helps you gain something that is away from you, something that you have to reach, something that you have to produce. But the unproduced, uncreated Ananda, which is the truth of yourself, which is Brahman, which is Satchidananda, that you cannot produce. So therefore, from this realm of frenzied activity, one gets to the place of learning, one gets to a place of desiring to study, desiring to learn how this I is infinite. How is this I the cause of the universe, equated to Ishvara? This is the transition the Mundaka Upanishad is trying to effect in this shloka, in this mantra. Nasti akritaha kritena. So therefore what? Tasmat tad vijnanartham, in order to know the truth of oneself. Saha brahmanaha. So may the person who is interested in knowing Brahman, gurumeva abhigachet. Take recourse to a teacher who will teach you about the truth of who you are, who will unfold the message of the Upanishads. This is what this is the transformation that needs to happen, and that's why we have in this verse, in the 13th verse, as well as in works like Atma Bodha, Bhaja Govindam, Drigdrishya Viveka, all the Vedanta texts, there will be some verses that talk about how fleeting everything is. And the only thing that is not fleeting is the person who is observing the fleeting nature of everything. And that person has to be known, but not like an object. So with these words, let us enter into the next verse here. Number 14, I think. This is a very beautiful prayer. Vande Devam Umapatim Suragurum Vande Jagatkaranam Vande Pannagabhushanam Mrigadharam Vande Pashunam Patim Vande Surya Shashanka Vanhinayanam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhaktajanashrayam Chavaradam Vande Shivam Shankaram. Vande means I worship. So who do I worship? Devam. So the word Deva comes from Div, to shine. And so the Deva here is that self-shining, the truth of this I, which is the self-shining consciousness, self-evident consciousness. So that is none other than Lord Shiva, who is that same self-evident awareness, consciousness, equipped with the power of creating, resolving and sustaining the whole universe. So Vande Devam. Which form do you invoke this self-effulgent consciousness? Uma Patim, the consort of goddess Uma. Sura Gurum, the lord of all the devas. Jagat Karanam, the cause of this universe. And then I invoke this lord as the one who is adorned by snakes, the one who is holding a deer. The deer is very dear to Lord Shiva because the deer is gentle and compassionate. So, and then Vande Pashunam Patim. Pashunam Pashupati. Lord is called Pashupati because not only because he protects all the wild and other domesticated, all kinds of animals, big and small, but also he is the master of bestial instincts in all beings, in all human beings, which we have to overcome. And so, when you invoke the Lord as Pashupati, you are saying, please help, take away all the bestial, what should I say, primal instincts, grab, catch, kill, and at the cost of somebody else's happiness, at the cost of hurting, injuring somebody else. So all those tendencies, Lord Shiva is the master of. And then the one whose eyes are sun, moon, and fire, because eyes represent effulgence, and the three sources of brightness, sun, moon, and fire, the celestial bodies, and fire, are his eyes. Vande Mukunda Priyam, the one who is dear to Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. And then Vande Bhakta Janashrayam, the one who is beloved to to all the devotees, who is the refuge of all the devotees. And Varadam, the one who gives whatever one wants very easily, the one who is auspicious of the nature of Shiva, and the one who is the bestower of Mangalam. Mangalam means auspiciousness in the form of Sham. The next verse is a lot of word play and pun. Very, very beautiful. Gatram bhasmasitam cha hasitam haste kapalam sitam khattvangam cha sitam sitascha vrishabhah karne site kundale gangabhena sita jata pashupatehe Chandrasito murdhani soyam sarvasito dadatu vibhavam papakshayam sarvada. Gatram bhasma sitam. The word play is on the word sitam. Sita, not to be confused with Sita. Goddess Sita. Here it is Sita, short. Sita means pure, of the color of white, pure. So the one whose gatra means the body, is white. Why? Because smeared with ashes. And why is the Lord smeared with ashes? The Lord is smeared with ashes to show vairagya, to show the fleeting nature of everything, whose future is in ashes. Gatram bhasmasitam, covered by ashes. And yet smiling, hasitam. And here the word is not sitam, it is hasitam. Means the one who can smile at destruction. The one who has mastered the ability to be so firmly rooted in the truth of that undying infinite self that everything that is fleeting becomes a form of leela. One is able to smile, one is able to laugh. It's the laughter of vairagya. One is able to just enjoy the universe without attaching to anything and without depending upon that for one's happiness. So the Lord is smiling without, even though covered by ashes, as a reminder of the fickle nature of this universe. And then haste kapalam. He begs, his begging bowl is a skull. Again frightening. Kala Bhairava. Why skull? Because that is the future of everyone who thinks I am the best, east or west, I can do everything, I have so much abilities. The end of the one who is associated or totally identified with his body is just that which is interred under the ground or that which is cremated. So there is his begging bowl is a skull, ste kapalam, and what is the color of the skull? Color of the skull is also white. And he wields a sword that cuts away ties that bind, cuts away, what is that, useless attachments, cuts away dysfunctional connections in life. So that sword is also gleaming. It's made of steel or silver, and it gleams in the sun. It gleams white. And then the Nandi which sits in front of Lord Shiva, what color is that? Yeah, white. Because the whole verse is all about this. And Nandi means Nandi stands for tamas, dullness, inertia, slothfulness, and finally self-ignorance. But the Nandi is blessed because it has bowed to Lord Shiva. And when that Nandi bows to Lord Shiva, there is no more tamas. That tamas is taken care of. That is the idea. So that Nandi represents the ignorant jiva, who has to take recourse to Lord Shiva, who has to take refuge in Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is the master of tamoguna. That the mastery over tamoguna is shown by the mascot, which is the bull Nandi, Sitascha Vrishabhaha. And then he's wearing a pair of beautiful earrings that are also white, silver perhaps. And then what about his dreadlocks? The dreadlocks, they are wielding Ganga. And the Ganga is bursting forth. Ganga is self-knowledge. And so much so in India, Ganga is associated with self-knowledge, that when Adi Shankara, it is said, was asked, which is the holiest river in India, he said Yamuna. And everybody was shocked. What do you mean? You forgot Ganga? He said, who said Ganga is river? Ganga is the flow of knowledge. That is how I see Ganga. So Ganga is flow of knowledge because of that quality in the water which dispels all bacteria. At least until recently it had it. I don't know now with all this pollution and everything, but that is the intrinsic property of this water. You keep it in a little jar in your home. Every house has a small little pot of Ganga water. If somebody is passing away, they put some Ganga water in the mouth. And even after 50 years, there is no bacteria, nothing, no algae, nothing formed. And so that's why it is knowledge that never dies. So then that Ganga is coming out with such force. This is just a nice, what is Upasya Murti. It is to calm the mind and focus the mind. All these descriptions are given. So the Ganga is coming out with such force that she is creating pena, bubbles, froth. So the froth of the Ganga sits on the dreadlock even after the Ganga has flown down. And that's why the dreadlocks also look, what color? White. So white dreadlocks, white earrings, and then Jata Pashupatehe, so the dreadlocks are white. Then Chandrasito Murdhani, the crescent moon resting on the other side of the head is also white. Saha Ayam, this all white one, the Sarvasitaha, this all white one means white means totally free of any kind of stains, papa, punya, any kind of omissions, commissions, fears, tears, any kind of discontent with oneself, any kind of regrets, resentment, totally free. Saha ayam sarvasitaha dadatu, may he give vibhavam, may he give me the glory. Oh, you want glory? What kind of glory do you want? Papakshayam sarvada. May he bestow upon me the glory of taking away all my omissions and commissions, because he himself is of the color white, which symbolizes purity. He is all white and free of any kind of taint of regret, resentment, omissions, commissions, fears. And let all those things which are internalized in me by that effulgent power of this Lord, it be always taken away. And the next one I think everybody knows, which we, in every temple ashram, it is the concluding mantra that is chanted, asking for pardon for everything that is done. So you can repeat after me if you wish. Kara charana kritam vak kayajam karmajam va shravana nayanajam va मानसं वापराधं विहितमविहितं वा सर्वमेतत् क्षमस्व जय जय करुणाब्धे श्रीमहादेव शम्भो. So now, in the conclusion, the author talks about needing to be redeemed of all kinds of papa in composing this whole treatise, in composing these set of verses, and in the daily prayer, everything. So please forgive what? Kara charana kritam. So those papas that are done by the hands and the legs may have stepped on some insect, the hands may have accidentally hit somebody, so many things. All the transgressions born of the hands, born of the feet, meaning born of all the organs of action, vak, speech. Very easy to have transgressions connected to speech. You can say something which hurts somebody. You can say something about somebody else, and that hurts both the people, the hearer, and the person about whom it is talked. So this kind of talk, etc., finding fault with things, all these things, please take away. Kayajam, born of this body. Karmajam, born of all my actions. And then karmajam va, and then shravana nayana jamva, born of ears. Born of ears means whatever I hear, if I have misheard and heard selectively, that also please take away. Born of the eyes, I have misperceived something and as a result acted wrongly. Please forgive that, take away that. And then finally, the mind, manasam aparadham, all the omissions and commissions centered on the mind and centered on all kinds of machinations of the mind, please forgive that. And then vihitam avihitam va. Vihitam means things that are enjoined for me to do by the Vedas, I do not do. Why? Just didn't feel like. That's all. So whatever is I'm supposed to do, the duties, swadharma, I have not done. And then therefore what have you done? Whatever should not be done, avihitam, I have done. So I have done two kinds of papas. What I am supposed to do, I haven't done. What I am not supposed to do, I have done twice. And so therefore, please forgive all this. And sarvametat kshamasva. And why should you forgive? Because you are karunabdhi. You are nothing but an oceanic, your heart is nothing but oceanic compassion. You are an ocean of compassion. So, victory unto you, who is the ocean of compassion. And who are you? Mahadeva. You are the Deva of all Devas. And then you are the one who bestows auspiciousness, Sham, Mangalam. So you bestow auspiciousness to forgive everything. And this is such a famous mantra, everybody knows it, and in all temples everywhere, in India and in other parts of the world, this is, after all the puja is done, everything is done, one is chanted. And with these words we conclude the Siva-Aparādha-Kṣamāpaṇā Stotram. And in the tradition, when we complete a text, to show that the flow of knowledge is always on and it's a cycle, we chant always the first verse at the end. Ādau karma prasangāt kalayati kalusham matra kukshau sthitam mam विन्मुद्रामेध्य मध्ये क्वथयति नितरां जाठरो जातवेदाः यद्वद्वै तत्र दुःखं व्यथयति नितरां शक्यते केन वक्तुम् क्षन्तव्यो मे पराधः शिव 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 भो श्रीमहादेव शम्भो. So this is we do this to keep us in the loop of knowledge, which should be ever flowing and ever blessing us. And I wish everybody the best on the eve of this sacred Shivaratri, and may Lord Shiva's grace and blessings be with everybody, all the acharyas, the staff, and the people and the visitors of the ashram. May everybody be blessed with prosperity and knowledge, jnana, vairagya and abundance. Thank you. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
We would like to thank very much Swamini Svatmavidyananda Saraswati. Let's give her a big hand. So we very much appreciate. She came all the way from India and she spent with us the last 6 days teaching this beautiful scripture. And it was wonderful. And thank you for the satsang talks and the afternoon workshops, the Q&A, and to all the people who came to the ashram to be here with Swaminiji. We are very much happy to have you. And we wish Swaminiji a good trip. She's leaving soon, tomorrow, I think. And we look forward to seeing her back in the ashram. And until then, hopefully on Zoom. And wishing you all the best with all your projects. So we'll go over the schedule for today. We have yoga classes at 8, beginners on the Bay West platform and intermediate. TTC class will be on the Bay West platform this morning. Beginners class for the guests will be in the garden platform, and the intermediate class on the beach platform. At 9:45 we have brunch. At 11 the ashram tour, living from reception. At 12 we have a workshop on chanting. It's called Heal Your Soul with Heartfelt Chanting, and this will be offered by Raj and Raj Prem from 12 to 1:30 on the garden platform. There is this afternoon yoga class at 4, dinner at 5:45, Gita Parayana at 7, and 8 we have evening satsang here in the garden platform. Now we're going to conclude with the final prayers and the arati.
We'll be doing the short version of the final prayers, page 98. Om 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam eva vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. O adorable Lord, mercy and love, let us abide in Thee forever and ever. Om Bolo Sadguru Shivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Bolo Shri Guru Vishnu Devananda Maharaj Ki Jai. We stand up for the arati and follow on page 118. Om Jai Jarati Vinna Vinayaka Vinna Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jai Jarati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jai Jarati Venugopala Venugopala Venulola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jai Jarati Venkataramana Venkataramana Sangataharana Sitaramma Radeshyama Jai Jarati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Shankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jai Jarati Raja Rajeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jai Jarati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta Jai Jarati Datatreya Datatreya Trimurti Avatara Jai Jarati Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jai Jarati Shanishwaraya Shanishwaraya Bhaskaraya Jai Jarati Shankaracharya Shankaracharya Advaita Gurave Jai Jarati Sadgurunatha Adgurunatha Shivananda Jai Jarati Vishnudevananda 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 Jai Jarati Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shirama Priyaye Jai Jarati Ayapa Swamiye Ayapa Swamiye Dharma Shastave Jai Jarati Jesus Gurave Moses Gurave Buddha Gurave Jai Jarati Muhammad Gurave Guru Nana Gurave Samastaravyo Namaha Jai Jarati Venugopala Om Natatra Suryo Bhati Nachandatarakam Nema Vidyotabanti Kato Magnihi Tameva Bandhamanabhati Sarvam Tasya Vasa Saravindam Vibhati Om Gange Chayamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Namastabhyam Namo Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Ameva Bandhu Saka Tvamevam Tvameva Vidya Dravinan Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasindriyarava Mudyan Manava Prakrite Swabhavan Karomyadiyat Sakalam Parasmahi Narayanai Tisamarpayami Sarvadharmam Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarvapapebhyo Moksha Ishami Masucha. So thank you everybody at home for joining us for this beautiful morning satsang. Have a blessed day. And everybody here on the platform, please help us in clearing up the satsang hall. And have a beautiful